We have a Taurus New Moon on May 16th, and here's some insight from my perspective. There's a lot happening collectively and personally for many people. I don't need to tell you that. I'm sure you're feeling it too. And I think a lot of us are feeling both exhausted by the pace and pressure of life while also sensing that something deeper is shifting within us at the same time and collectively as well. And what I love about Taurus energy is that it brings us back to what is simple and real and nourishing. It usually helps slow life down naturally, but these days we actually have to make a more intentional effort to slow things down, to reconnect with what nourishes us, what relationships feel supportive and safe, what truly we want to cultivate moving forward, and also what we may no longer be meant to carry alone or carry at all anymore. Here are some things to journal about or ask yourself, or when you're on a contemplative walk or something, carve out some time this weekend during this new moon and maybe sit with or ask yourself, what do I want to start now and cultivate moving forward? What relationships and environments actually support your well-being? And what helps you feel safe, connected, calm, and rooted in your life? And what are you ready to release, stop carrying, or let go of? And I'll add a couple more. What am I grateful for? Even if there seems to be so much more to be down about right now, what is something small that brings me joy that I can do for myself today? And I think that's going to be really important for us going forward with all this fire and air energy for the foreseeable future. This is a practice that we're going to want to cultivate. Okay, I'm going to break down some of the astrology for the new moon. And also I want to share some great intuitive confirmation that came through in my Wise Women Circle this morning, because the messages are aligned so perfectly with the energy and the lunation and the conversations so many I know are having right now. So Taurus reminds us that growth is not just spiritual or emotional. It has to become rooted in our everyday lives. And the easiest way to do that is by paying attention and caring for your body, your peace, your relationships, your values, and the quality of your daily experience. And with Mercury also in Taurus, just slightly ahead of this new moon, this is going to support that mental slowdown. Thank goodness. Yes, please, right? So step out of survival mode and reconnect with what truly matters inside, instead of getting swept away by the constant barrage of noise and fear and pressure and overstimulation coming from within and in the outside world. The ruler of this new moon is Venus, and she's currently in Gemini right now. And honestly, this feels like one of the biggest themes of this lunation for me. So Venus in Gemini reminds us that connection and conversation, perspective, and community are deeply healing right now and important, especially for women. I've really been thinking and reflecting lately on how much the meaningful conversations I have with trusted women in my life have helped me navigate these times. Friends, circles, support systems, soul sisters, and my motherhood community, spaces where we can be honest and raw and real about what we're feeling without judgment or pressure to have everything figured out. And I think many people need that right now more than they realize. This actually connects so deeply to the conversation I recently shared with my intuitive friend Sarah Wilson on the Seeker and Seer episode. We talked about balancing logic and intuition, spirituality and real life, and how connection may actually be one of the bridges between them. Venus is also making a sextile to Mars and Chiron in Aries, and I think this energy is bringing up a lot to the surface emotionally, especially again for women. There's a strong awareness right now around exhaustion, frustration, suppressed anger, and over functioning or people pleasing, and the pressure so many to carry everything for so long, trying to survive and keep everything together for everyone. It's no wonder when you ask most women what they wanted for Mother's Day was to be left alone. And with Chiron involved, I think many people are becoming more aware of where they've abandoned themselves and silenced themselves or disconnected from their own truth to meet the needs and expectations of others or just to keep the peace. But this astrology feels more empowering. It's supporting honest conversations, healthier boundaries, courage, self-advocacy, and creativity, and the parts of ourselves that are ready to live more authentically, out loud. Then we have these larger collective energies unfolding in the background with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. And honestly, I think this is part of why so many people feel mentally overstimulated right now and emotionally overwhelmed right now. There's a lot happening and a lot to contend with. These are highly mental, fast-moving air energies, and they accelerate communication, information, technology, but they also bring awareness and perspective shifts and collective change, which we are definitely seeing and feeling. These also can create anxiety, system overload, and disconnection, doom scrolling, and feeling mentally scattered, and we're not grounded. Which is why I keep coming back to this idea that one of the most important things we can cultivate moving forward is conscious connection and support with community. So not just consuming more information, not trying to figure out, everything alone, but creating relationships and spaces where we can feel safe, safe enough to be real and vulnerable and share our thoughts and feel supported as we navigate all of this change together. And interestingly, in my Wise Women Circle this morning, which honestly reflected so much of what I'm talking about here already, I pulled my 3 cards from the Little Sage deck. Is that? And of course, they were incredibly aligned for the Taurus New Moon energy. So I wanted to share them with you as well. So the first one is the inner child. The affirmation says, I am a perfect child of the universe, regardless of my physical age. And absolutely, this felt so aligned with the Taurus New Moon and Venus in Gemini. There's something here about softening the pressure we put on ourselves to have everything, figured out all the time, and remembering the importance of rest and creativity, curiosity and play, nature and nourishment, and emotional safety. So Taurus reminds us of that. It reminds us to reconnect with the body and the simple pleasures of being alive, while Venus in Gemini reminds us to stay open and curious and connected and always learning. And I love that reminder that we're still growing and becoming. We don't need to carry the weight of the world alone or expect ourselves to already have all the answers, because there's too many questions for that. The second one is patience. How perfectly timed is that? I patiently allow life to unfold according to the bigger plan for my life. Not my plan, but the bigger plan. And honestly, doesn't that feel like one of the deepest lessons right now? I think so many people are trying to trust divine timing while simultaneously navigating uncertainty and fear and financial stress and relationship shifts and the realities of everyday life that we're seeing on the world stage. This card felt like such a powerful reflection of Taurus energy too, because Taurus teaches us that growth takes time. Seeds planted now aren't meant to be bloomed overnight. And with Venus making that supportive sextile to Mars and Chiron and Aries, I think we're being asked to loosen our grip a little, to stop trying to force everything into place immediately. Instead, trusting the healing, the clarity, and movement are unfolding in their own timing. And the last one, of course, timing. Okay? I trust everything occurs in its divinely right order. This one felt deeply connected, of course, to the larger collective in astrology happening right now, with that Pluto in Aquarius and the Uranus in Gemini. And patience is not a strong suit of the human race, I find. But it's a tough one. And there's this sense of massive change and evolution are unfolding collectively and personally, but not always in the timelines our minds would prefer. So sometimes we can feel blocked because there's still lessons unfolding that we're learning, and still healing happening and conversations that need to happen, or other people even involved in that timing of your path that you're not aware of yet. And this card is such a beautiful reminder too, that just because something hasn't fully arrived yet doesn't mean it's not happening. A lot is unfolding beneath the surface right now, but don't worry, Neptune in Aries is going to be burning all that off. We're going to see it all soon. Clarity will come. So I think these three cards felt like they really echoed the heart of this Taurus new moon. So I wanted to share them. You know, it's about slowing down, grounding yourself, staying connected, trusting the process, all those things we hear all the time, you know, but are real. And Taurus is about keeping it simple. It doesn't have to be as hard as we often make it sometimes. So more than anything, this new moon feels like that invitation to cultivate stability through presence, through slowing down, having some meaningful conversations, some quality time with people we care about, have conversations with people we trust, and slowly plant the things we want to build for moving forward. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed and uncertain and emotional, stretched too thin, or caught between hope and reality lately, you're definitely not alone. So try and enjoy this beautiful Taurus new moon weekend, friends. And remember that growth isn't always loud or immediate. In fact, it never is. Sometimes it's quietly just taking root beneath the surface, and eventually it will grow and bloom. Happy new moon, friends. Take care.